Okay, these are the 5 best beliefs that quietly rewire your life, according to neuroscience. So if you set the intention to change these beliefs, you'll see massive changes in your life. However, if you miss any of these, they might be causing you to unconsciously sabotage any goals or progress you make. These beliefs aren't affirmations, they're corrections. Corrections to the invisible assumptions running your behavior. So belief number 1, my emotions are data, not my identity. Neuroscience shows emotions are generated by subcortical systems, like the amygdala and limbic network, whose job is prediction and survival, not truth. And they fire on past learning, uncertainty, and perceived threat, not reality, only perception. So essentially emotions are like signals, they are not labels. So what's actually happening is your brain is running a threat prediction system based on incomplete information. I feel anxious, therefore I must be anxious. I feel unmotivated, therefore something is wrong with me. They're feedback about your nervous system, not statements about who you are. So if you feel anxiety before speaking to someone you find attractive, instead of saying to yourself, I feel really scared, I feel really nervous, I'm insecure, the more accurate way to view this, or the more accurate read, is my nervous system is detecting uncertainty and social risk. Nothing is wrong. No identity problem exists. There is just information. When you stop turning emotions into identity, shame collapses. And with shame gone, your system relaxes. When you stop identifying with emotions, your prefrontal cortex stays online. But when you fuse and identify with emotions, it shuts down. Emotion equals signal. Identity equals interpretation. Separate the two and shame drops immediately. Belief number 2, my actions create clarity. The brain learns through prediction error. The difference between what you expect and what actually happens. Thinking doesn't generate prediction error. Action does. So when you overthink what to say, how it will go, how it will feel, your brain will just keep looping and looping because it's got no new sensory input. The moment you act, send the message, show up, go and approach or speak to that person, the brain updates its model of reality. That update reduces uncertainty. Reduced uncertainty equals reduced anxiety. So therefore, clarity isn't a prerequisite for action, it's the byproduct of it. Clarity comes after action. You have to take action to get clarity about what you actually experience, not what you think you're going to experience. There's a big difference there. So therefore, action creates clarity. The more clarity creates more action. So the next belief was probably the biggest game changer for me, probably the most powerful. But before I get into that, guys, I want to say to you, please help me out. Subscribe to the channel so more men can see this type of content, because I think it's very powerful. So go and subscribe right now. And also, if this is resonating with you, go to the link below, check out the extra content that we have. We've got plenty of videos there that will give you practical exercises to integrate what I'm talking about in these videos. Anyway, back to the content. Belief number 3, pain is neurofeedback, not punishment. Pain and discomfort activate learning circuits in the brain, particularly dopamine pathways that update behavior. Dopamine isn't a reward chemical, it's a learning signal. So if you put yourself out there and feel rejection, your brain isn't punishing you, it's updating its expectations. It's learning what is real. It's learning what mattered, what was miscalibrated, what was just in the mind. When you label pain as failure, the nervous system goes into defense. When you label it as feedback, learning stays online. Pain resisted equals amplified. Pain understood equals integrated. So a really powerful way to think about this is the brain doesn't learn from comfort, it learns from discomfort. It learns from contrast, and discomfort just marks the edge of what your nervous system hasn't integrated yet. This belief is so powerful because it takes that pain and reframes it as learning. With this understanding and this clarity, you're just so much more likely to take action. When pain shows up, dopamine isn't saying this is bad, it's saying pay attention, something here matters. Avoiding pain teaches the brain that the situation is dangerous. Staying present with it teaches the brain that the situation is survivable. That distinction is everything. So over time, what once felt painful will stop triggering the same response. And it's not because you became tougher or anything, it's because your nervous system has updated its expectations. Belief number 4, my identity drives my behavior, not willpower. So the way to think about the brain is it's an energy-saving machine. It automates whatever you believe is who you are, and it does that simply just to be more efficient. So this is driven by the default mode network responsible for self-story and identity, or ego. But when identity shifts to I'm someone who shows up imperfectly, Behavior follows with less resistance. Willpower burns glucose. Identity runs on autopilot. The brain will always choose the cheaper option. So what's actually happening neurologically is your brain is constantly asking, what kind of person am I? And then it will just organize the behavior to stay consistent with that answer. When anything threatens that identity, the nervous system will just create lots of resistance. And this is simply because inconsistency to the nervous system at this point is just unsafe. It feels like there's some kind of threat. So this is why forcing habits rarely lasts. The brain will just abandon willpower as soon as any pressure arises. But when it comes to identity, it will just protect it really easily. It will take zero energy to protect identity. So when you shift your identity or you shift your self-story just slightly, the behavior will follow with far less effort. I discovered this when I quit alcohol and I was getting pressured to drink, getting peer pressured by my friends. And I found that when I said that I'm not drinking, I just don't want to drink, and I was actually using willpower to come up with reasons why, they would easily come back to me and say, yeah, but you drink, you like to drink. Whereas if I said, I'm not a drinker, I shifted my identity, it seemed that people just left me alone a lot quicker. And I found it to be a lot less effort. Belief number 5, my brain can change at any age. Neuroplasticity doesn't end. What ends is exposure to novelty without threat. The brain changes when 3 things are present: repetition, attention, a sense of safety. So when people say this is just how I am, what's actually happening is their nervous system associates change with danger. When you release that pressure and when you add safety and you let go of the belief that you need to be a certain age and that your neuroplasticity stops at a certain age, the belief itself will help you continue to change, along with all of the other beliefs in this video. So if you want to go deeper on this topic, go to the link below. We've got some amazing exercises which will help you practically integrate this stuff. And once again, thank you very much for watching, and subscribe to the channel so more people can see this type of content. Thank you very much. Goodbye.